Good to be back, my brothers and sisters. I am so sorry I have been gone for so long, but I was on the path of Jesus and I kind of fell off, rolled down the hill into the trench, into the mud. Now I'm trying to claw my way back up, and I'm so sorry I've been gone for so long, but I'm so happy to be back. And whoever is watching or whoever is going to be watching, I'm so glad you're back watching my channel. Thank you so much. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Mike, and I'm simply here to do God's work as always. And today I would just like to, for a start, I would just like to recap on my first hell testimony. I would like to basically remaster it and tell you guys the story all over again, since I'm better at telling the story now than I was before, because it's full of foul language, obviously, which I highly apologize to anybody who watched it. I'm so sorry. I wasn't right with God then, obviously. But I would just like to go back through the hell testimony and the second testimony I had, which I do believe was a hell testimony as well, because it had to do with demons. But yes, I would just like to take you guys back through those if you guys don't mind, being patient with me. And I will be having another video come out to further explain what's been going on in my life. We'll get there, but let's get through this one first. Okay. Like I said in my first actual testimony video that I put out there, that I was 10 years old when this happened, and I went to bed one night, just like normal. It was around, I think, 8 o'clock, something like that. I'm pretty sure. Went to bed around 8 o'clock. I remember going to sleep. I closed my eyes, and as soon as I closed my eyes, it's like I opened my eyes again, and I was in this black void of space. And it was just like anybody says in any testimony that they have about being in places like this. It was blacker than black, and you can't see the hand in front of your face. You can see nothing. You can't see anything. And in this black void of space, I'm not scared or anything like that. I'm just kind of standing there like, where am I? You know, even as a 10-year-old kid, I'm like, where am I? What's going on? You know? But there were a couple of things that I did take stock of. Was one, I couldn't hear anything. At the moment, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't smell anything. And I think that's basically it. But as I'm sitting there in this darkness, like I'm able to start to see, I guess you could say. There's like a small, it's either like a small backlight or my eyes are just adjusting to where I can see. I know I'm in my spiritual body because just like everybody says in their testimonies, like it's so dark you can't see the hand in front of your face, but you can see at the same time. You're in your spiritual body, you have your spiritual eyes, so you can see the darkness and how thick it is and how alive it is, but you can see straight through it at the same time. Because in hell, yes, it's absolute pitch black, but you're in your spirit body, so you can see. You have to see in hell. That's part of the torment. But as I'm standing there in this black void of space, it's the area starts to illuminate up, and what I'm seeing is that I'm in just a wasteland, and it's like the ground is like this reddish grayish clay. Like I said in my first video, it's this reddish grayish clay, and you look up, and the sky is like this blood red, but it's got like these black sinister clouds, and then there's just nothing. It's like you can see a little bit far out, but beyond that, it's just a border of darkness. That's what it looked like to me. Couldn't hear nothing, couldn't smell nothing, and now I can see. And it's just dead. That's what it looks like. It's just the dead zone. That's what I want to call it. It's dead zone. That's what it looked like to me. Devoid of all life. Anyways, no trees, no nothing. It was just black. Like I was on Mars or something. That's what it looked like. It looked like Mars. But in the midst of me standing here in this void of space or whatever, I'm looking around and I'm looking around and I kind of start to say, like, is anybody there? You know, I start hollering out, is anybody there? What's going on? As I'm turning, I'm looking around, I'm panning to the right, I'm turning to the right, and I stop on this figure that is like, it is 8 to 9 feet tall, and it's like, I think it's like 20 feet away. I'm pretty sure it was like 20 feet away, and it's like 8 to 9 feet tall, and when I look at it, I freeze. Because I'm like, in my head, as a kid, I'm 10. So in my head, I'm like, that's a freaking monster. That's what I said in my head. I was like, that's a monster, dude. but I was still frozen and fixated on it. So I couldn't move. And like as I'm sitting there staring at this creature, I'm just in my head like, what is that? And as I said that in my head, this creature just turns around like super quick. It turns around super quick and just looks at me dead in the eyes. And it's got these demonic, piercing red eyes. And when a demon makes eye contact with you and acknowledges you, the fear level is like, just like anybody explains in hell, like when you're on Earth, you know, your emotions have limits. There's a limiter. Just like if you're feeling so much pain or something like that, your brain will just shut off because that's its defense mechanism. You can't feel that much pain. There's limiters. It'll shut off. But when you're in your spirit body, those limiters are removed. So the pain just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And the fear just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going and going. Just like I would say if you're in heaven, the peace and the serenity and the joy would just keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going. Because when you're outside of the earth in different dimensions, you're outside of like the rules of the physical world. You're outside of limiters. So everything just keeps going up and keeps going up. So when you're in hell, it's absolute torment. And when you're in heaven, it's absolute peace, joy, and love. So as I'm standing there looking at this demon in its eyes, the fear level is just, it's beyond any fear that you could possibly imagine in the earthly realm. I'm sorry, but it is. If you had this kind of fear on the earth, your heart would explode out of your chest. That's what it felt like to me, because I am just locked in at this creature, and it's like the fear has just risen to a level that is beyond a level of fear that you could possibly feel. So as I'm staring at this creature, I'm just in awe and in absolute panic and fear. And this thing just, it's like I blink and this thing is just like boom, and just runs into me, and I wake up in like this crazy, like, I don't know. It's just I wake up and I am just drenched in blood. It's everywhere. Like my nose is just like someone just hit me in the face with a brick. My nose is just pouring blood. And I had this white shirt on that went all the way down to my ankles because I'm so small and I had this giant shirt on. It's how I like to sleep back in the day. And it's all red. It's all red. Like I've been bleeding for a while. But I remember it specifically. It was like this thing came at me faster than anything I could possibly imagine. And it was just boom. And I woke up and I'm just covered in blood. And here comes my dad. He kicks in the door. Like I said in the first testimony I actually put out there. My dad kicks in the door and he's like, "What's going on?" And I look at him and I'm just covered in blood. And my mom comes running out. She's like, "What's going on?" And my dad's like, "I don't know. He's covered in blood." And they get me, they scoop me up, they clean me up. The night goes on. And you know, that's basically it for that night. That's basically it. And throughout the day, I'm like, that is the scariest thing I have ever experienced in my entire life. What was that? What was that? What did I just experience? But I'm like, it was just a bad dream because I've had bad dreams before, and apparently before having had that bad dream, I was having night terrors like crazy, which I didn't remember. My brother had to tell me that. My brother had to tell me that because I didn't remember at all. But apparently, I had them like every night up to this actual dream. But you know, here comes night two. It's the same thing. I'm kind of scared because of what happened the night prior. I'm like, oh my God, I actually don't want to really go to bed. I kind of want to sleep in my parents' bedroom. So I asked my mom, can I sleep in your room? She's like, no, you just had a bad dream. And I'm like, you're right. That was not a bad dream. That was something else. When do you ever come out of a bad dream covered in blood after you know for a fact that you got smacked in the face by some entity with piercing red eyes and a freaking huge top hat on? Yes, that's what I forgot to mention. This entity, the one thing that I was drawn to when I saw this entity, besides its eyes, before it turned around and looked at me, was its huge top hat. It had a freaking huge top hat on. And I'm like, and it turns around and all that other stuff happens. But I forgot to tell you guys that. Yeah, this is a demon in a top hat. And that's exactly what it looked like. And I remember it to this day, and I will never forget it. I would never forget the top hat. Never. Because it was terrifying. But anyways, the next day comes and I'm begging my mom, like, let me sleep in your room because that was something else. And she's like, no, you'll be fine. So I'm like, okay, suck it up, get in my bed. go to bed about the same time, go to sleep. I'm just like, man, please let me sleep good tonight. Please let me sleep good tonight. I go to sleep, I open up my eyes, and I'm in this black void of space. And it's like, and I know this time, I'm like, great. Because I know it's about to happen. I know exactly what's about to happen. This is no sleep paralysis or nothing like that. I'm in a completely different place. I know I'm in my spirit body because I get the knowledge that I'm in my spirit body. Because most people do when they have these visions and these testimonies from God. You get the knowledge in your spirit body. When you are in your spirit body, you know basically everything that's going on. You do. When you're in your spirit body, you know basically all. But we're limited because we're in this humanly flesh. But no, I wake up in this black void of space again, and it's basically like deja vu. The same thing happens. Looking around, can't really see anything, and then can't smell anything, can't hear anything. And then, my vision starts to brighten up so I can actually see where I am, and it's the same place, the dead zone. It's the same place. And I'm looking around again, and of course, it's just like deja vu. I stop on that figure that's like 8 to 9 feet tall with a huge top hat on, and it's like 20 feet away, and I'm just frozen in terror looking at this thing because I know it's exactly what's about to happen. I know what's going to happen. I know it's exactly what's about to happen. And I'm staring at this figure, and this figure just turned around and it's locked eyes on me, and my terror just goes through the roof. It's like beyond the terror that you could possibly go beyond. Like, here's your limiter when you're in your earthly body. Here's your limiter. And when you're in your spirit body, it just blows through that ceiling and just goes to another level of terror that you cannot fathom. So I'm sitting here looking at this red-eyed monster, and like I did the same thing as last time. I'm just thinking like, oh my lord. And as soon as I think that, this thing, instead of rushing at me, which is weird, it's like I rushed at it. And when I hit it, like this huge bright light appeared. And this bright light came with the all encompassing feeling of love and comfort. It was the greatest feeling I could ever imagine. Like nothing to this day, anything and everything that I've ever done doesn't compare to the way that light made me feel. It was insane. It was it was God. That's all I can say. And people want to be like, no, because since you guys are all believing in one religion and you guys have been doing it for so long, it's in your guys' head. That's why you guys are seeing the things that you're seeing. That doesn't make sense because how do we get the knowledge of things that we cannot possibly know? That your mind doesn't just do that. Your mind doesn't just give you knowledge. That's your spirit giving you knowledge. Your mind does not just be like, now you know what you know. Your mind doesn't do that. That's your spirit giving your mind that knowledge. That's intuition. That's exactly what intuition is. That is spirit knowledge. And when you're in your spirit body, you have the information of things or the knowledge of things that you can't possibly have. Just like when people are pulled out of their bodies to have these supernatural experiences, they know what's going on. Just like the testimony I just watched today, where a man died in his sleep and a demon yanked him, grabbed him by his left arm and yanked him out of his body. And the dude, as soon as he left his body, he knew exactly what was going on. He knew that that was a demon, and he knew that he was going to hell. Exactly what he knew. And that's what hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people say. But for some reason, we're just making it up, right? It doesn't make any sense. You got to make that one make sense. But moving on. After that big bright light appeared, I woke up and I felt so amazing. It was like I just felt amazing. I felt like I was just so protected and loved. It was like no, it was like a big old hug. It was like beyond anything that you could possibly imagine. And, and of course, as a kid, I was like, what the heck just happened? I still didn't incorporate that to God because I believed in God, but I really wasn't for all that. I didn't like going to church or nothing like that. I was no church. I hated it. I hated church. But now that I look back on myself, I'm like, you're an idiot because God's real and we all need to get our stuff together. But excuse me. Moving on to when I was 14, I had another experience, another demonic experience, and I think I was going to bed around 9 or 10 o'clock. I think I was going to bed around 9 or 10 o'clock. And the same thing happened back when I was 10. I closed my eyes and I opened up my eyes, and I'm standing in this. It's like a lofted upstairs bedroom. If anybody's ever seen that, because you got your house, then you got your two bedrooms downstairs, and then you got your third bedroom, which is the whole attic. That's the way that this thing looked. And I'm at one end of the bedroom in the attic, and I'm looking to the other side of the attic, and there's a window there, and that's it. There's nothing else in this room except for that window. And so I'm looking at this window, and in this room, this place is glowing green. It's really weird. The whole room is like a tent green. Like I said in my when I first told my story, I said it was like a goosebump green. That's kind of how it was. That's kind of what it made me feel like because I was 14 at the time and I was watching Goosebumps. So I was like, that's exactly the color that it looks like. It's goosebump green. So I'm staring at this window and I'm like, okay, well, where am I? One, I don't really hear anything. I don't smell anything. And I'm just like, where am I? So the only thing that I can do is I start walking towards this window, and when I get halfway there, the window shoots up, and I freeze because I'm like ah, but the window just shoots up like supernaturally fast, like boom. I'm like okay, and nothing happens as I'm staring at this window. I'm like okay, so I take one more step towards the window, and this very long contorted arm comes through and rests on the floor. And then another very long contorted arm comes through and reaches up towards the ceiling and rests its hand on the ceiling. And as the arms kind of spread apart, a body starts coming through. And I can see its head, and its body comes halfway through, and it just pauses there. And I'm in absolute, utter terror because the thought of me being 10, what happened when I was 10, has just flooded back into my mind. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the same thing all over again. It's a monster. Because I didn't use the word demon, I just used the word monster. And I'm frozen with terror because I don't know what's going to happen in this one because in the first one, I was assaulted. And this one, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm terrified beyond belief, beyond comprehension, because I knew exactly where I was and I knew exactly what was going on because I was in my spirit body. As soon as I seen the arm come through, all the knowledge came to me like, this is what's going on. I'm frozen with terror. But as this thing just sits there with its head down, and I'm just frozen with terror. This thing just like stares up at me, and when it looks at me, I am thrust into absolute utter shock and terror, even higher than the terror that I was already in. It just doesn't stop. Because if I was experiencing this kind of terror in this world, I would just explode. That's the way that these demons make you feel because they're full of absolute and utter hate, and their hate has power behind it to the point where if they look at you, it would cause you to explode because they hate humans so much. But as this thing stares up and looks at me, I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what it looked like. This thing looked like a zombie that was almost skeletonized, but it still had skin on its bones. And it had these deep, deep, deep black sunken eyes. But the irises were this green color, like the room was. It's like the demon matched the room. And when it looked at me, it kind of tilted its head. And then this huge, demonic jack o' lantern smile, which I forgot to mention the first time I told this story. Huge, demonic jack o' lantern smile popped up on its face. And when it smiled, it, it had these jagged, demonic teeth, like rows of teeth in its mouth. And just the terror of what I was looking at, which I came to call it the creeper. I call the other one the demon in the top hat. It was the dude in the top hat, and this one is the creeper. This thing was terrifying. Terrifying. You think zombies or whatever, you see zombies on TV and you're like, okay, whatever. You know, if I saw a zombie, I'd try to kill it or shoot it or whatever. No, this one was like 10 times more terrifying than the average zombie. I don't know what made it so terrifying, but it was beyond belief. The teeth were so scary. I don't know how to describe it to anybody. But as this thing is sitting there staring at me with this huge demonic smile, it just leans forward and just gives this like grunt, like like something like that. And I wake up. And when I wake up, I shoot awake like I was like, okay, that was terrifying. I was like, what was that? That was terrifying. But anyways, I just wanted to get my stories back out there, and because I have a knack for telling stories and then just veering off and start talking about other stuff. But I just wanted to get my story back out there to you guys and kind of like sum it up on what happened. And I kind of want to tell my story of what I believe to be a tribulation dream, but I told it before, but I took it off my channel because I was being convicted by God. Maybe the way it was told, I don't know what it was, but as soon as I took the video off, the conviction stopped. So it had to be something with the video. I don't know if I was supposed to tell it or not, but I guess I'll just maybe save that one for another time. But I am so sorry, my brothers and sisters, that I've been gone for so long. I have just haven't been about it. Just haven't been there. Like I said, I fell off the narrow path and just rolled down that hill into the trench and the dirt and muck, and my life's just gone downhill from there. I ended up losing my job, so I'm in in the process of looking for one of them. Just it hasn't been a good time. The devil brought a female into my life, clear as day. Because after I met her, I woke up one morning. After it's not after she was at my job, and then we ended up talking and stuff. And a couple months into us, hanging out and doing all kinds of stuff, I wake up one morning and I'm looking at reels on Facebook, and this reel pops up, and it's like, and it says, if the devil cannot get a hold of you, he will send a woman to distract you, which is so freaking true. I was doing so good, and then I just screwed it all up. Brought a female into my life, screwed it all up. It's just been one hurdle after another. My brothers and sisters, I appreciate you all watching this remastered version of my testimony. I appreciate you all so much, and I love you all so much, and God loves you all so much. I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to actually watch my channel. Just watching someone ramble on about God, but it's what we're told to do. Spread God's good word. Spread the word that there is a hell, and that's where people go when they die, is hell. There are only two places that you can go. It's either heaven or it's hell, and you do not want to go to hell because it's the worst thing that you could possibly imagine. They have every single nook and cranny covered. You will always be in torment no matter what. It doesn't matter what kind of way you try to see your way out of it. Maybe I could just stand over here in the corner and not get. No, it's torment 24/7 all the time. I'm telling you that. There is a hell. God does not send you there. You send yourself to hell. Because that's the only place that you can go when you reject the Father. He gives you this time on this earth to repent. So take it, repent. Believe in Jesus, believe that he died on the cross for you, believe that he died for reminding your sins, believe that he rose on the third day in a glorified body, because that's what happened. Hell is real, and it is not a joke. You do not go down there and party. It is torment and pain and suffering and loneliness 24/7 all the time. So just remember that. Whatever sin you're stuck in, whatever you love here on earth will be used against you in hell, and you'll come to hate it. Trust me, they are highly, highly intelligent creatures. These were angels at one time. Still are angels, demons, whatever they are now, corrupted angels. But they still have their intelligence and they know exactly how to torment a human being because they watch us from the moment we're born, from the moment we die. They watch us and they know what we know that we enjoy and they know what we fear. And they're going to use it against us. Yeah, they will. I'm telling you that right now. So, those of you who haven't accepted Christ, please do so because He's real. He is very real. And He has done miracles in my life, and He's done miracles in everybody, so many other lives, forgive me, so many other lives. So many other people that I know have been blessed by God. And this movement of God is getting stronger and stronger because we're in the last days. Sin is ramping up because we're in the last days. It's got me doing things that I wouldn't even think I'd be doing. Things that I told myself that I would never do, a sin that I would never do, did it. Because sin is ramping up. The Bible is coming true. Everything from the Bible is coming true. And people are like, no, that's not what's going on. Yeah, it is. You're just blind to it. Because there's three types of people. You're hot, you're cold, or you're sitting on the fence. And the fence belongs to Satan. So you can't sit there. You can't. You need to get off the fence. You're either hot or cold. If you're lukewarm, he'll spew you out of his mouth. So you need to get hot on Jesus because he's your only protection from what's coming. He's your only salvation from what's coming. So believe in him because he loves you. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching my video. I appreciate every single one of you. And a happy new year to absolutely every single one of you. I love you. And I will be back soon, I promise. Thank you so much. See you guys later.